January of this year, I took my mother back to Buenos Aires, and she had not been back in 40 years, and it was very emotional. She saw her family. She hadn't been back. It was, my mother's 67 years old, and her cousin Eddie is also 67 years old, and they had not seen each other since they were 12 years old. And we're walking the streets of Buenos Aires, and they had just remembered this game that they played when they were little girls because they didn't have any money. They used to play the statue game. And they would spin around in circles, and then they would let go and freeze in whatever position, and that was their statue game. And these old women, man, they must have done it 100 times, and they would pee with laughter every time they did it. And it's one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen in my life. My mother and her cousin Eddie playing the statue game on the streets of Buenos Aires.
I love you, Tommy, so much.
Hola. This is my darling family in Argentina. Obviously, having a good time runs in my family, and I love going down to see my cousins any chance I get. Argentina's economy collapsed in 2002, and when I told my cousin Juan that the rest of the world was experiencing what Argentina went through in 2002 right now, this was his reaction.
Welcome to the crisis war.
Tommy, I love you, Tommy. I love you, Tommy.
This is one of my older cousins. I met all these cousins of mine. See, when I was a little boy, when you're in school and you get to pick a country and write a report about it, I would always do a report on Argentina because of my mother. And the encyclopedias always talk about the gauchos of Argentina. And this cousin of mine thinks he's a gaucho, and he dresses like a gaucho. His name is Hugo, or as he says, Gaucho Hugo. And he's like batshit crazy, man. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of relatives' houses where he's not allowed to go because he's caused a lot of problems in the past. And this guy just would not, he loved me, man, and he just would not leave me alone. And he kept saying the same thing over and over to me. Gaucho Hugo, Tom Rhodes, in the garden, Nueva York, and Europa, and Asiatica, and all the mujeres. And he kept, it was like, oh, but a big Spanish speech that he kept giving me over and over. And finally, it took me a long time to figure out, he wants to introduce me. He wants to travel with me. Gaucho Hugo introducing Tom Rhodes at Madison Square Garden, Nueva York, New York. And then we're gonna go to Europe, and then we're gonna go to Asia, and then we're gonna fuck all the women. I want to get famous not for the money, just so I could afford to travel and have Gaucho Hugo introduce me wherever I play. That is my motivation, everybody. That's my agenda. This trip was incredibly special for me because I got to go to Patagonia in search of my favorite cousin, Fernando. Fernando is a professional chef who went to culinary school in Spain. Now, he owns his own restaurant in Patagonia. You could live off of the wild fruit that grows all over this region. And this is the organic farm where my cousin buys the fruits and vegetables for his restaurant. Let's see, wine, delicious food, a good woman, and a child. Maybe prescription drugs aren't the way to true happiness. Stop and smell the tomatoes. I wish you could smell it here. Oh my God, it's like fruit. It's so good. I like this salad bar. I like arugula so much, I might name a daughter arugula. And for dessert, we have blackberries. Wow. Hey, black sheep. You're my favorite.
Vivir los momentos con el mayor sentimiento posible.
Me gusta mucho, Argentina. And hey, you have to admit, my cousin Fernando is the coolest guy on the planet. He's the Tom Rhodes of Argentina. He's doing his own thing, he's living his dream, he's got his restaurant, and he does things artistically in his own way. And it makes him happy. Him cooking and food is what comedy is to me. It just gives him joy. And that's the key in life. You have to find what makes you happy and go for it. It's a really long journey to get there. But I have to say that as an experienced world traveler, I have found no place that is more heavenly than Patagonia, Argentina. Just listen to the music. Okay, let's review the facts. We all need to loosen up, dedicate our lives to the tango, South American soccer, stand-up comedy, love everyone in your family as hard as you can while you have them, and pursue love and happiness. El Bolson is the name of the little town where my cousin Fernando lives, and once a week they have a hippie market. This is Ixtami Devaux. He's a writer and he sells his books in the market. As one of my favorite things in life is drinking wine and having good conversations with intelligent people, my favorite moment of the trip came with him.
All the religions can be, whittled down to just 3 words. Man, 3 words that hide all the richness there is about life, and it's be here now. That's it. If you're now in the moment, nothing else can go wrong. You're in perfection, but it's very hard to be in the now. But whenever you're in the now, in the constant now, it's like you're in perfection, man. Most people are in the past, lamenting about the past or worrying about the future, and the now escapes, That means forbidden women. I'll read you the first page, and that I translated on the fly. It says, dedicated to all the women that made me suffer, and also all the ones that gave me joy. To all the women that doubted me, and the ones that always trusted me. To all the women that cheated on me, and the ones that were loyal to me. To all the women that made life impossible to me, and the ones that made it easier. To all the women that hurt me with their witchcraft, and all the ones that made me fly with their magic. To all the women that didn't have patience with me, and the ones that were beside me despite my defeats. To all the women that stepped on me when I was on the ground, and the ones that, despite my weaknesses and shortcomings, gave me a hand when I was down. To all the women that offered me their body, and to the ones that denied it, but even further yet, to the ones that shared their soul with me. To all the women that put up with me, and to all the women that I put up with. To all the women that looked for me, and all the ones that I found without looking. To all the women that are victims of their own beauty, and to the ones that transcend their ugliness, and to the ones that without being beautiful or ugly, are experts in the art of seduction and conquering. To all the women that fed my ego so that later on they could butcher it, and the ones that looked the other way when my ego was getting out of hand. To all the women that left me hungry, and to all the ones that knew how to feed me. To all the women that loved me, and the ones that I love. Oh well, to all the women.
Adios.